Good morning. You're listening to the Student Slant. My name is Ephraim Wells.
And my name is Traciona Tate-Jones from Tulsa High School, and today we're going over jobs in the digital content world.
With us today is Mr. Christopher Wells, the head of McDuffie County School System, Public Relations Department, or PR.
How are you doing today, Mr. Wells?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on here.
What is the first thing that comes to people's mind when you tell them, I work in public relations?
I think these days, the first thing that comes to people's minds is probably just somebody who does social media. And that's a part of it, but I think that's what people think of first these days because social media is so prevalent everywhere.
One of the things that I was thinking when I heard public relations was having seen you around schools taking pictures, most people think, oh, that's just the picture guy. He goes around, takes pictures at school events, and then just posts them on social media.
Which I do, yes.
Is there any other aspects of your job that relates to digital content?
Yes. As a matter of fact, there are many different aspects of digital media that we handle here for the school system. I also do video production where we use it for not only social media, but on the website and for different conferences, that kind of thing. And also at recruiting fairs when we are trying to find the best teachers out there, we have videos that play informing them about our school system and giving them information that they can use to make a decision whether they want to come here or not. I actually do a podcast as well with a lot of school information, just like you guys are doing now. And we talk to people in the school system, talk to people out of the school system about the school system that's involved with it. Yeah, and I also do newspaper. Not as much of that as digital, but I do take pictures and write stories that go into the newspaper. And I also send press releases out to all of the local news media, which includes TV and radio as well.
If you don't mind me asking, who is all involved in your work?
As a matter of fact, I'm a one-person department. So I kind of handle all that stuff myself. However, I have to do it in conjunction with all of the people who work here at the board office, all the principals, and it involves the teachers. So I have to talk to everybody essentially in the school system. So I coordinate with all those people to try and get the stories out about what great things we're doing here in McDuffie County. And it kind of takes all of us, but I'm the one that just sort of puts them all together and puts them out into the world.
Do you love enjoying going from school to school, doing what you do every day?
Yes, it's great. I love getting to go take pictures and go to all the events that I get to see at the schools, all the kids, and find out what they're doing in the classrooms, find out what they're doing for the extracurricular activities as well. It's really fun, and there's a lot of good things happening. So it makes it that much more enjoyable to get other people involved and get other people to know what we're doing here.
So you said you're a one-man team. So you're the head of your department, and who would be your boss?
So I report directly to the superintendent, Dr. Michelle Rhodes. That's my boss. All the other people that work here at the board office have folks underneath them, but I report directly to her, and then go out and about in the schools and find things to share with everybody out in the public. And sometimes I come up with the ideas, and sometimes they'll come up with the ideas. And either way, doesn't matter. I'm glad to put those stories together and get them out there.
You mentioned you had your own podcast. I also did some research and found that there was another podcast done by, I think, your intern,
Yes, that was called Student Slant.
which we are now reproducing.
Right, you starting a new season of that, I see. Okay. Yeah, Jabari was working for me for a semester, and he was into digital content creation. He went off to college to do that at Kennesaw State. So he didn't have a lot of experience in video editing, in audio editing, and that sort of thing. So his major was, I knew when he went off to do sort of animation type of things, I knew he was going to have those pieces in there because everything that's animated is going to have audio in it. And everything, it is video. So you need to understand how video works, how video editing works, and how audio, like recording and editing work as well. So I gave him those sort of tasks, and it's like, here, we'll create you a podcast, And I want you to go out and talk to people and see what's going on in all of the schools. He learned how to do all of those sorts of things right here in the office. And so now you guys are going to go out and continue his work on your own.
Do you mind taking us through a process of creating the video?
Sure. So video never starts with turning on the camera, which is what everybody now in social media kind of thinks. You just pick up your phone, turn on the camera, and start recording. But you have to kind of have a plan in place first. So you think about, you've seen storyboards online, that sort of thing. When they go to make a movie, they want to see how it's going to look before they record anything. So I always think about script first, and what are my visuals going to be, and how are they going to coincide. And when you get that, then we go out, set all those things up, and record. You record from different angles. So if you have multiple cameras, that's always good. You have to make sure they're synced up and that sort of thing, so that when you cut between them, everything matches. Everybody's hands are in the same place, their mouth is in the right place, that sort of thing. And then when you get the footage back on your computer, you can switch back and forth between those takes, those angles, and make it look like you want it to look. So you can cut, you can rearrange, and that sort of thing. And then audio is a huge part of that, and a lot of people don't think about, because so many people record with their phones these days, and it's just a little microphone on the
Pick
on the
the
phone.
thing around you.
Yeah. So we're using microphones here today that would be good for that, but you can look at them; they're huge. So you kind of have to hide them when you're doing video. That you can have a little lapel mic, but a lot of video production will have the boom mics overhead. Don't have one of those, but so we end up using lapel mics and just try to like hide it in people's clothes, but.
Run it through your shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Run it through your shirt. Those will get pretty good sound. But if you don't have a microphone up close, it's really difficult to get good sound, and then it ends up sounding like you're talking in a cave or something.
Is there anything you'd like to highlight about your job that you particularly enjoy?
That you love.
I think it's the fact that I get to do all of the things essentially that I have learned how to do in my career, all in the same place. I came up through college writing for a newspaper and spent a long time doing newspapers. And I get to write stories. I spent a lot of time in newspapers taking pictures. I get to do a lot of that here. I picked up along the way when I worked at different places doing video. I get to do that. And then, I know a lot of people in the media are around here, so I get to deal with them. And then my family has heavily been involved with the school system. I have, both of my parents were educators, so I get to use that knowledge in it as well. And it kind of just encompasses everything that has from the start of my career all the way through. So I think it's the fact that I get to put all of that together.
You mentioned a newsletter earlier. So who helps, or what is the process of making the newsletter?
Okay, so the newsletter starts with the events obviously happening at the school, everything that people want to see and read about. So I will get pictures of different events. I will get information about students who have won contests, that sort of thing, all the learning that goes on in the school, unique things. And then I'll put it together. We have an 8-page newsletter that goes out online and in print. And so it's like I said, it's 8-page, and it gets printed and put out in the front of all the schools. But I lay it out using a program called Adobe InDesign. The same thing that newspapers and magazines use to lay it out. And then I send it to a printer to get printed, and we put it out in all the schools.
Thank you for giving us an insight on your day-to-day job, Mr. Wills.
All right. Thank you for having me.
And if we
you.
don't see you,
Good
good afternoon, good evening, and good night.